This always makes me chuckle. I always ask, how often do you perform a task without pressure, stress, and distraction?
The paperwork is a pride element of, I did that task. Look, I've put my name to it. And it's not about something for you to be able to audit back and work out, where it all went wrong. It's about proudly saying, I performed that task in accordance with the maintenance data, and here is my signature that says this is what I have done. And changing that mental approach to it changes your approach even to the entire task, and it helps lift you out of any distractions you may have.
Hey, thank you for watching to this point. Really does mean a lot. We're always looking to create more content that will connect with you and that you'll find valuable. So please feel free to comment, let us know what you like, and any ideas of what you'd like to be covered in the future would always mean a lot to us. Thank you. Luke, well, welcome back. We did part 1 of the personal minimums, which was all about before the task. Now we're going to spend a few minutes just briefly looking at these 9 or so questions that we can ask ourselves after we've finished a task. And literally this takes 30 seconds. So anybody who says, I don't have time for this, it's literally 30 seconds. And it can make all the difference between releasing an aircraft where maybe something's gone wrong because you were distracted or you were under stress. And you didn't mean to make a mistake or an error, but you kind of did. So this can really help capture that. Flicking over the minimum cards. Did I perform the task to the best of my abilities? And these questions have to, they literally take 30 seconds to run through. It's being honest with yourself. Did I perform the task to the best of my abilities? And, I did actually. Or, no, maybe I could have done that a little bit better. It's that personal reflection. You might have worked in accordance with, but it's still that personal reflection.
You have a hard day and you go, is good enough good enough? And actually, you'll recognize it. You really will.
Good. Was the task carried out in accordance with approved data? Yep, matches the previous slide. Did I use all methods and practices that are accepted in the industry?
Interesting one as well. So it talks about methods and practices accepted in the industry, perhaps approved in the industry as well, because sometimes we can have industry norms which can be problematic. Recognizing that is important. But as you say, is what I've done is in accordance with the expectation of my organization, of the industry as well.
Yeah, great. Did I perform a task without pressure, stress, and distraction? This always makes me chuckle. I always ask, how often do you perform a task without pressure, stress, and distraction?
It's the industry we're working quite often has a lot of pressure, distraction, and stress. Really, this tool is about actually defending against those side of things. So I think that task without the pressure, you're recognizing not necessarily that there wasn't pressure to the task, but actually that pressure hasn't caused an impact on your performance.
Again, self-reflection. It's there. This question is here to, upon reflection, ask yourself, was there pressure, stress, or distraction? Oh yeah, there was. I took that phone call. Okay. After I returned to the task, did I go back 3 steps? Because research shows us that if we're distracted from a task, we will return. Usually we'll be an average of 3 steps behind where we think we are.
And that really brings it nicely to the next one, which is, did I re-inspect before returning to service?
Perfect.
That beautifully leads into the fact that there will be times where you're distracted, but by going back and doing that re-inspection, you're checking the work that you've done to make sure, right, actually, fresh pair of eyes, I know what I think I've done, but is that what I've actually done? And I'm sure we'll have all had those situations where we think we've done something and then you haven't pressed send on that email. So checking is a really important part of that.
Very good. Have I completed all of the applicable paperwork correctly? This is an interesting one. Sometimes we can complete all the paperwork, might not always complete it correctly. We might sign off a tech log before we've actually finished up the procedure that we've signed off in the tech log, just because it might save us a few extra seconds from returning up to the flight deck. Or there might be many other reasons why, maybe we'll go through a task, we do it from memory, and then we'll go back to the office and we'll just stamp up every single part of that task.
I found that when you have to write task performed in accordance with X, it can really focus your mind as to whether or not you actually looked at X. And it can be quite big for somebody to say, yeah, I've done it in accordance with, but actually haven't even read the procedure. That can be a reality check for people where they suddenly go, oh, actually, no, you're right. Maybe I should just make sure that that's the case. And that's a really important part of it. The other element to this is the paperwork correctly. Paperwork is often seen as a negative thing in industry. There's the running joke of aircraft and paperwork and all of the bureaucracy that goes with it. Change our approach to that. The paperwork is a pride element of, I did that task. Look, I've put my name to it. And it's not about something for you to be able to audit back and work out, where it all went wrong. It's about proudly saying, I performed that task in accordance with the maintenance data, and here is my signature that says this is what I have done. And changing that mental approach to it changes your approach even to the entire task, and it helps lift you out of any distractions you may have.
Very good. Did I perform operational checks as required? Speaks for itself. Have I returned all tooling to its correct storage? This is all about just professionalism.
Yes.
And tidying up after yourself, leaving it as you'd want to find it.
Again, put the tooling back. It's great, but quite often you can go back to a toolbox and go, right, there we go. And there's my spanner, and why is there a hole there? Where's that? Oh, wow. And again, these are all tools to make sure that that job is done exactly as it should be. There's no FOD left behind. And all of the procedures we put in place is to make sure that we are set up to succeed on that.
That's really good. And actually, I was just thinking, you can be a very good mechanical engineer at doing the actual task itself, the physical element of the task. But actually, if you want to be a real professional, if you want to show good airmanship, if you want people to actually notice you quietly from behind the scenes, a task isn't finished until all the tooling's put back correctly and all the paperwork's been completed correctly. Be known for that.
Yes.
Like, don't just be known for, oh, I managed to, remove and install this particular component in record time. Actually, it's the whole task. Be known for being professional at that.
And I'd say if you're listening to this thinking, that's all very well and good, but actually the real person that gets all the praise is the person that goes from job to job, and they do that, and they, it looks like they're on fire, and they deliver all of those different things. If you're thinking that, and certainly if you're a licensed engineer thinking that, think about what you're praising and what you're rewarding, because
that's good.
Actually, you need to be making sure that the reward goes back to that person that says, no, actually, I just need to get my tools back and do a tool check before I slip to the next task.
Yeah.
And if your organization isn't doing that, and you're feeling that actually I couldn't possibly say I need to put my tools back before I start the next task, think about how you can have those conversations with your peers and with your managers and supervisors to say, guys, we maybe need to take a moment here and pause and go, what are we doing?
Yeah, that's good.
So, yeah.
Because actually, we might think that we're speeding up a process by going from job to job without doing those things, or leaving the paperwork until the end of the day. And we think we're saving time. We will suddenly have hard reality hit when something goes wrong or there's a missing tool. Now, all of a sudden, those few minutes that we thought we've saved, we've lost. Now we're into the hours. Now we're looking for a lost tool. Now we're grounding aircraft. Now we're delaying flights and having to pay out for passengers who are been delayed for X number of hours.
Use that tool as an example. Maybe a minute or two to go back, put them physically in your toolbox, or do that reconciliation to go, there we go, and you go, I'm missing a spanner. You've got one place, one job, one place to look at. You've done 5 tasks on 5 different aircraft, and you go back and you miss that spanner. Which job, which aircraft, which task? That problem is now felt 5 times more for the sake, 10 minutes. 10 minutes a day runs the risk of 5 times more impact than that, not to mention the safety issue of potentially an aircraft that's just been dispatched with a loose spanner under a floorboard.
Yeah, really good. Okay, and then lastly, I love this question. Am I willing to fly in the aircraft once it's approved to return to service?
It's such an obvious question to ask. And I think 9 times out of 10, people will actually say it. Yeah, of course I am, of course I am. But reality check it. Are you really, really confident in what you've just done? And actually, I often think, not only are you willing, think of significant others. I've got 2 small people. Would I want to get on that aircraft with them? And if I'm anxious about that, something's gone wrong. And I might not even know what that is. Use the card. It can certainly help work out where that could have been. but it's all about having any reality checks before that is released to service. Because when you sign that task and when that aircraft rolls out of a hangar or onto the flight line again, that issue is escaped. And at which point the genie's out of the bottle. You're not able to put it back in.
Yeah.
Have those moments of reflection now, not as it rolls down the runway, and then you start really being concerned about what's happened there.
Yeah, really good, Luke. Somebody in class, actually, I remember a while ago, said, can we change that? They said, Sam, can we change it to, am I willing to put my mother-in-law in the aircraft once it's through to return service? I did follow it up with a question saying, how well do you get on with your mother-in-law? Because it would depend. But yeah, if not, you must stop. That's what I absolutely love about these personal minimum cards. So I think we'll try and find a way of letting people have access to these somehow. But certainly ask, if you're watching this, you're part of a large organization, get in contact with us. We have a whole bunch of cards that we can figure out how we can get to you, along with poster series. But I'm convinced that this cheap little, well, it's not too cheap because it's soft laminated.
I will say,
for those of you who are tactile,
who can't see it, it's matte. it's nice.
But hey, listen, these personal minimum cards, the questions on it, 30 seconds to run through. Could save your career, could save somebody's life, not to put too fine a point on it. So thanks, Luke. Great conversation. And everybody, remember your personal minimums.